Chase Claypool. Some see him as a solid player who just didn't put in effort. Some see him as a complete bum that doesn't deserve an NFL spot. I'd have to agree with the first group of people a little bit more. Chase Claypool was drafted by the Steelers in the second round of the 2020 NFL Draft. He had a 4-year career at Notre Dame where he had a solid junior year season and broke out for 1,000 yards his senior year with Ian Book throwing him the rock. He looked ready for the NFL at that point. In his first year with the Steelers, he was a solid wide receiver 3, sometimes 2. He would finish the year with 873 yards. Claypool finished 4th in rookies in yards that year, and he looked solid and ready to take another step in his second year in the league. In 21, Claypool played one less game and only had 13 less yards. He didn't make any improvement overall, though, and if anything was worse than his rookie year. He had 7 less touchdowns with only 2 compared to his 9 in 2020. And Deontay Johnson seemed like the better wide receiver, finishing the year with more than 1,000 yards and 6 more touchdowns than Claypool. Juju had taken a step back this year too, and was injured, allowing Claypool to get more snaps, but he didn't really do all that much with his opportunity. In 22, this is when Claypool's fall off really began. He played 8 games with the Steelers and only had 311 yards through those games. He was showing a lack of drive and effort and was frustrated. He would be traded to the Bears for a second round pick, where the Steelers would take Joey Porter Jr., and seems the Steelers won this trade. Claypool would disappoint in Chicago, where in 22 he had 140 yards and no touchdowns. The lack of effort was really noticeable in Chicago too. Just seeing him not really willing to do much on plays and just didn't really have a drive or motor to be there. And Claypool would play 3 games for the Bears this past year in 23 and seemed undetermined to really do much. He'd be traded to the Dolphins for about nothing, where he'd play 9 games and have 4 catches for 26 yards. He wasn't good enough to even be a receiver 3 for the Dolphins, when just 2 years ago he looked like he could be a franchise guy for the Steelers. And by franchise guy, I don't necessarily mean next AB in his prime, but a solid guy that could play for him for a while. And his lack of drive was really noticeable in Miami and a bit in Chicago, where he wasn't really willing to learn his routes, and you could see him on multiple plays messing up his routes and running the wrong routes, and sometimes it'd make even Tua look pretty stupid. I know there's one play specifically where it happens. But Claypool's career seems to be coming to an end in the NFL with this lack of drive, and rumors have circulated about him potentially signing in the CFL since he is Canadian. It'd be interesting to see him join a UFL squad too, just because I don't really watch Canadian Football League. So it'd just be something I pay a little more attention to. Although I don't know the signing rules of that, I hope that he overcomes his attitude issues and problems in the NFL though, but I don't really believe he will. But I really hope he does. I'd be shocked to see him become a 400 plus yard receiver in the NFL again, and I'd be shocked to see him even be a receiver 2 again. And receiver 3 might be stretching it, but I do hope the best for him though.